The big story this evening, Pakistan has promoted General Asim Munir as a Field Marshal, the highest rank in Pakistan's armed forces. Chief of Army Staff General Munir becomes the second Field Marshal in the country's history after Ayub Khan, who entitled himself for this slot between 1959 and 67, eventually taking over that country. So Asim Munir, just days after Operation Sindoor, has gone ahead and elevated himself to the rank of Field Marshal. That big story is breaking from across the border. What does it mean? What does General Munir's politics mean? And how is General Munir to be perceived? Remember, just a couple of weeks ago, ahead of Operation Sindoor, India Today magazine had done a cover story calling General Munir the Jihadi General. It is in that context that my first guest who's joining me is Raj Chengappa, Group Editorial Director, Publishing at India Today. Raj, it was the magazine that did a cover calling General Munir the Jihadi General. I'll show a picture of that cover in a moment. But explain what you mean when you say that Asim Munir is a Jihadi General, and what does his elevation, according to you, mean?
Let's start with the fact that he's been elevated, and that's, I think, a big signal across that Pakistan is sending within the country and outside as well. One, of course, given the kind of fog of war that happened and the fact that India decisively made many strikes that put Pakistan on the back foot, that had to be wiped off. And by elevating General Munir to Field Marshal status, the Pakistan government there is forced to claim victory in some senses, and this is an indication of him being made Field Marshal. He was already the security czar. He had gone much beyond his purview in terms of the fact that he not only got himself an extension for 2 years pretty easily. I mean, the first time, even before his tenure was to finish this November, he got that extension. He can go up for another 5 years. He's also controlled the levers of the economic side and apart from the army. So he's probably one of the most powerful field marshals that you have, reminiscent of Ayub Khan. He hasn't taken over power formally. He doesn't think he needs to because he's supreme. And what this particular, Operation Sindoor and the 6th Indo-Pak War has done is the fact that what it's done is it has, in many senses, changed the way, the India-Pakistan matrix is working. And if you look at the fact, take a look at from the Pakistan side, what has General Munir done? He's got into a war with India. In that, he makes sure that the country is dependent on him now. Pakistan is completely dependent on him. Second, if you take a look at the fact that he internationalizes Kashmir in some senses in the way both Donald Trump, US President, talks about it, and Marco Rubio in terms of having talks on this one. And the third thing was that though he had emerged as one of the most powerful generals or army chiefs that they had, there was a popular discontent against General Asim Munir because of the fact of the economy not working well and that Imran Khan was extremely popular. By this particular war that has happened he is virtually become the defender of the country and his popularity is probably risen. But I will give you a caveat, Rajdeep. The fact was that we did, as you had mentioned, there was Ayub Khan after the 1965 war with India, which he wanted to decisively win, but Lal Bahadur Shastri, with his tremendous sort of force that he brought in terms of pushing into Pakistan and surprised the general at that time, made sure that the war had to end, not on a scale, but certainly not in the way that Ayub Khan, and within 2 years of that, he has to go. So he, despite the fact that he now emerges as one of the most powerful individual in Pakistan, there is a warning. He has overreached himself in dealing with India, and I think sooner or later you will see that decline happening.
At the moment, though, that decline hasn't happened. At the moment, though, he hasn't become an Ayub Khan and actually taken over his country. So he's actually projecting the civilian leadership of Shahbaz Sharif, but running the show from the back. Geeta Mohan, how is India viewing this at the moment? General Asim Munir taking over. In the past, we've seen India making it very clear that dealing with the civilian leadership is no longer of any point in Pakistan because it's the military that calls the shots. But you're not going to deal with a General Asim Munir, particularly not after what's happened in the last few weeks. How is India, the MEA, seeing the rise of Asim Munir now as the Field Marshal of Pakistan?
Well, India, Rajdeep, has been very closely monitoring the developments in Pakistan, and yes, post-Pahalgam terror attack, there has been a sense of how the Pakistani military establishment, and like Rachingappa was just saying, General Asim Munir has been trying to consolidate power, and he has managed to do that. But India's position has been very clear. In the past, it had been that they're only going to deal with the civilian dispensation and not the military, even though India is very well aware of the fact, Rajdeep, that it is the military that controls Pakistan. Having said that, now they have shifted and they have upped the ante. They're saying that they're not just not going to engage the military, they're not even going to engage the civilian dispensation. That any conversation that has to take place between India and Pakistan, it is going to be at the DGMO level. But this information and this news, just ahead of all party delegations going to various world capitals, works to India's benefit, because this is also something and is going to be part of the kit, the foreign policy kit that every delegation member is going to go with. See what's happening in Pakistan. Look what the general is doing. Is it for his personal interest? Is it for self-gain? And that certainly is going to be part of the conversation when the all-party delegations go to various world capitals as well.
You know, that's interesting because, Raj, you know, Pakistan is claiming victory. You've had victory rallies taking place by Shahbaz Sharif, by various other groupings associated with the ruling party. And maybe the only reason I was given by a Pakistan analyst is that they believe they've stood up to India. And General Munir, therefore, has had his stature rise within the army at a time when it looked like he was in trouble. So do you expect the next step for the general to do perhaps what Ayub did, which is try and take over? Because if he doesn't take over sooner or later, he will find himself in trouble on the back foot. Is this a general who you believe wants to take over, or is he happy running, pulling the strings from behind?
Look, he could have taken over any time in the last couple of months. He had become so powerful. But I think it suits him at the moment because the economic front is not happy at all. And he'd like the civilian government to take the blame for whatever the economic woes are there. They're, barring the fact that they are the IMF loan that has come at the right time for them. Pakistan is a basket case when it comes to the economy, and inflation will again rear its head, and all the problems that economic problems that Pakistan has had will sort of rear its head again. So he would like that blame to go to them. And look, he's established his position because the moment India did the kind of strikes it did, automatically he becomes the most powerful because then the army comes back as the guardian of Pakistan, which is what they always wanted to. If you recall, just take a look at this man, Rajdeep. He comes, he's sacked as ISI chief, right? He comes to power when the army is at its nadir. He is challenged by his own co-commanders, where there is a revolt almost happening on the streets of, unheard of in Pakistan, where the Lahore co-commander's house is attacked. And then he consolidates his position, sacks all those other generals that are against him, makes himself, supreme when it comes to the army, then begins to take over the civilian side of the entire dispensation, right? There is a weak coalition government is there, highly dependent on him for their existence, moves into the economic front as well by having a special financial cell that has a lot of the army brass sitting in it, and therefore has all the levers of power that he wants. He is far more than just a security czar. He is now virtually the czar of Pakistan in some senses, barring the designation of being, as General Musharraf was, president or CEO or whatever they'd like to call themselves at that time.
Final question, Geeta, where does this leave Shahbaz Sharif? We've so far, whatever limited interaction India's had has been in the last 10 years with the Sharif family. Nawaz Sharif came here for Narendra Modi's swearing in. Mr. Modi went in 2015 December to Pakistan. Where does all of this, the rise of Asim Munir, leave Shahbaz Sharif? Or is Shahbaz Sharif, as some are suggesting, someone who's already cut a deal with the army, so he's not an Imran Khan?
Well, it's a very interesting question, but yes, the Sharif brothers, Rajdeep, are very different. Mia Saab, that's Nawaz Sharif, is very different from Shahbaz Sharif. Remember, Shahbaz Sharif has been or was Chief Minister of the Punjab for the longest, and he stayed in power despite and in spite of what happened with Nawaz Sharif. So he knows how to deal with the army, how to deal with the terrorists who thrive in Lahore, and he's been cutting deals with them on both sides. If you look at the conversations, if you look at the statements, if you look at how Shahbaz has treated the army and how he's propped up the army, it does seem like they have cut a deal. It's more important for this dispensation right now to stay in power, to remain in power, to remain protected rather than to get into trouble, because they've seen what the army had done to Nawaz Sharif in the past, and certainly what the army has done to Imran Khan, which is just about the worst that any political leader has faced in Pakistan.
Right. So we'll wait and see. General Asim Munir, the jihadi general, self-anoints himself as Field Marshal. In a way, it can only happen in Pakistan, a country which over 7 decades has seen more than 4.5 decades at least of military rule. So it's the men in uniform who continue to control Pakistan, and that's one of the many differences between India and Pakistan. The army has always stayed in our barracks. In Pakistan, being a man in uniform appears to give you all the power you need, including to call yourself Field Marshal. Just contrast Field Marshal Sam Manekshaw with Field Marshal Asim Munir, and that will really tell you the difference in the way the army civilian leadership has worked in India and the way it's worked in Pakistan. Field Marshal Manekshaw is the man who led India to that famous victory in 1971, and he was honored for his achievements. General Munir is taking over as Field Marshal just a week after Operation Sindoor, where clearly the Pakistani air bases suffered major damage and a message was sent to Islamabad. But that, I'm afraid, is the way the cookie crumbles in Rawalpindi at the GHQ. Raj Chengappa and Geeta Mohan for joining me. Thank you very much. Let me turn to my other story. The battle may be over on the border, but slowly but surely domestic politics is heating up. Operation Sindoor has now turned into a full-blown political slugfest between the BJP and the Congress. It started when Foreign Minister Jaishankar claimed that Pakistan was told about the strikes on terror infrastructure. Rahul Gandhi hit back, called it a blunder. The BJP now calls him Mir Jafar. Rahul Gandhi is asking questions. How many jets were shot down? Once again, the BJP is targeting him. Memes, accusations, history lessons, flying fast. Is politics back after seemingly a quiet period? Take a look.
While guns have fallen silent on the border, they have started booming on the political front lines. The BJP and Congress are fighting a war on social media over Operation Sindoor, calling each other traitors. The ruling party shared a poster with merged pictures of Rahul Gandhi and Pakistan Army Chief Asim Munir, and a meme describing the leader of opposition as New Age Mir Jafar, the general who betrayed Sirajud-Dowla in the Battle of Plassey against the East India Company.
पूरी दुनिया में संदेश गया कि जो एटॉमिक हेकड़ी थी पाकिस्तान की वो भारत ने तोड़ दी। ये बातें राहुल गांधी के समझ में नहीं आती है, पर ऐसा बयान दे रहे हैं जैसे लग रहा है कि वो पाकिस्तान की मदद कर रहे हों।
The Congress hit back, calling S. Jaishankar, the foreign minister, Jaichand, who as legends have it, invited Mohammad Ghori to fight Prithviraj Chauhan. What triggered the face-off is this recent statement by Foreign Minister Jaishankar.
At the start of the operation, we had sent a message to Pakistan saying we are striking at terrorist infrastructure. We are not striking at the military. So the military has an option of standing out and not interfering in this process. They chose not to take that good advice.
Rahul Gandhi cited Jaishankar's statement to claim Pakistan was alerted about the airstrikes, which resulted in some Indian losses.
Why was Pakistan informed, and why were the people of Punch not informed? If you could inform Pakistan, perhaps that's why Hafiz Saeed, Azhar Masood and the terrorists of Pahalgam killings were able to escape. If the DGMO were given 2 or 3 more days, we would have achieved much more. Why did the political leadership buckle under pressure? Why did Donald Trump announce the ceasefire?
It is unfortunate and very regrettable that the Congress party and its senior-most leadership have often chosen to disregard what our armed forces say and instead raise or ask questions of them or the government.
The BJP also questioned Congress chief Mallikarjun Kharge for calling Operation Sindoor a small war.
ಈ ಟೂರಿಸ್ಟ್ ಅನ್ನ ಪೊಲೀಸರ ಮುಖಾಂತರ ಯಾಕೆ ಹೇಳಲಿಲ್ಲ ನೀವು ಹೋಗಬೇಡಿ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ತೊಂದರೆ ಇದೆ ಅನ್ನತಕ್ಕಂತ ಮಾತು ನೀವು ಹೇಳಲಿಲ್ಲ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ 26 ಪ್ರಾಣಗಳನ್ನು ಉಳಿತೀವು ಮತ್ತು ನಮ್ಮ ಈಗೇನು ನಾವು ಹೆಚ್ಚು ಕಡಿಮೆ चुटपुट युद्धಗಳು ನಡೆದಿವೆ
पाकिस्तान के अंदर घुस के भारत की सेना ने अदम्य साहस के परिचय के साथ 9 आतंकी अड्डों को ध्वस्त किया, मिट्टी में मिलाया। ऐसे में जब आप कहते हैं कि ऑपरेशन सिंदूर कुछ नहीं, एक छोटी सी लड़ाई थी, ये कहीं ना कहीं अपने देश के साथ, अपने देश के सेना के अदम्य साहस के साथ यह धोखा है।
The political consensus on Operation Sindoor is clearly falling apart. While India is sending all-party delegations abroad to show a united front, back home the divide between the Narendra Modi government and opposition is widening. With Mausami Singh, Bureau Report, India Today.
So are the gloves off now in this political war over Operation Sindoor? Is the BJP versus Congress slugfest soon to become an embarrassment? Should the opposition not ask questions of the Modi government? Is Rahul Gandhi in sync with the rest of his party? Just some of the questions I want to raise. Tuhin Sinha is spokesperson BJP and Salman Soz, spokesperson Congress. Today an old-style face-off between two political spokespersons. Salman Soz, to you first. The fact is that before Operation Sindoor was launched, the Congress made it clear, whatever you do, we are fully with you. The moment the operation is over, the Congress is looking to find almost on a daily basis what they believe has gone wrong with the operation, rather than even have a single statement to suggest that maybe some things have gone right. What has gone wrong for the Congress suddenly, day after day, Rahul Gandhi in particular, to begin targeting the government?
Rajdeep, I'm glad you started with this, that the Congress party, from the very beginning, made it very, very clear that after that dastardly terrorist attack in Pahalgam, the Congress party was fully with the government and with the armed forces of the country. Because this was a time for us to show unity, because terrorism can only be defeated if we are united. I think that was important, and we did it. And I think in that, the government, the opposition, we all succeeded. Now, Rajdeep, what has happened since then is a few things have come to light, which we must address. And we need to address this from the beginning till the end and going forward. How did Pahalgam happen? What really happened at that time? Was there a lapse? It seemed that there was a security lapse, but nobody has taken any responsibility. Not one person has said that we are accountable. If you remember, Rajdeep, after the Mumbai attacks, the Home Minister and the National Security Advisor had to put in their papers, and they called Prime Minister Manmohan Singh weak. There is no accountability with them. You know, as far as the BJP is concerned, the BJP wants the glory of military action, but not the responsibility of civilian failure. We must address that. Then,
okay, let me take, you make an important point. Let Tuhin Sinha respond. You just heard Salman Soz say that the BJP wants to take the glory of military action, not the failure of civilian accountability. For example, if the opposition now asks the question about security lapses in Pahalgam and fixing of accountability for the same, or the fact that Donald Trump, the President of America, announced a ceasefire between India and Pakistan, are these legitimate questions not to be asked, or is if anybody asks questions, they are to be called anti-national to Tuhin Sinha?
Well, good evening, Rajdeep. Good evening, everybody. You know, let me first begin by calling out the notoriety and the bluff of Rahul Gandhi on a very important issue. and since since all three of us over here are pretty good in our comprehension of English, and you could give a tutor class to, to Congress if they aren't, what did our EAM say at the start? That was corroborated by the DGMO, General Rajiv Ghai, when he says, in the wake of our attacks on the terror camps. What does in the wake mean? Consequent to our attacks on terror camps. If Rahul Gandhi does not understand this, and he purposely and maliciously distorts an innocuous statement of EAM, I think, there are sinister motives written all over it, and that needs to be called out. The facade of Rahul Gandhi standing with the government and the facade of him supporting the country has been blown to smithereens. Today, Kharge ji says, choti moti yudh, chut put yudh, and within 1 hour of that, you have seen Asim Munir being promoted. So there seems to be a weird coordination going on between this Congress party and their friends overseas. My simple questions
isn't that a stretch? One minute.
Rahul Gandhi seems to derive some sort of... Let me complete.
Are you seriously saying that the Congress party is working in tandem with Pakistan? The first part you made, saying that Rahul Gandhi is misquoting Jaishankar, is all very well. But then you are going on to make a leap from there to suggest that Rahul Gandhi is in tandem with Pakistan.
I am asking you a simple question that would answer your question. Why are the Congress leaders so hell-bent on becoming stars in the Pakistani media? Have you seen how many Pakistani channels are quoting Congress leaders to score brownie points? Is that what is expected of a responsible opposition at this hour? Have we seen the Congress party? Rahul Gandhi seems to be deriving some sort of a wicked glee in assuming that we have had damages. But have we seen Congress party exude half as much excitement when the DGMO listed out 11 PAF bases which have been destroyed? Where are the priorities of this Congress party? Where are the loyalties of this Congress party? That is a serious question which the whole country is asking.
Okay, let me ask this question to Salman Soz. Salman Soz, the Congress party, does it recognize or realize that whatever Rahul Gandhi says, for example, when he says, please tell us how many jets were shot down, that these quotes will then be used in Pakistani media to try and somehow suggest that Pakistan won the war in the air? Is that what Rahul Gandhi wants? It's one thing to ask question about accountability for Pahalgam security lapses. It's another thing when you start questioning military gains and losses at a time when the conflict is hardly concluded.
Rajdeep, first, let me basically tell your audience that the question you posed to the BJP spokesperson was about taking responsibility, accountability, anything. And the BJP spokesperson had no answer because we know the answer. The people of India are not stupid. The people of India are smart. They know that the BJP is not, nobody in this government takes responsibility for anything. That is one. Second.
No, but why didn't your leader only, Mr. Soz, why didn't your leader only focus on that? He then went on to ask questions about how many jets were shot down. Is that the right question to be asking?
Rajdeep, let me get to these things. But you gave Tohin some time. Let me give you give me a minute. The second thing that is important to note is about you started with unity. Let me again take the audience and you back to what happened post Mumbai attacks. Prime Minister Manmohan Singh at that time called an all-party meeting where he was present and he spoke to everyone, brought everybody together. And then after that, delegations of Indian parliamentarians and senior leaders went out of the country to take India's case abroad. Compare that with what has happened this time. There were 2 all-party meetings. The Prime Minister did not think it fit to attend even one of them. Then, after that, when it was time to send, by the way, the Prime Minister has been going to different countries. He's probably been on 100 trips. He's probably hugged 200 people on these foreign trips. But what did we see in this? Rajdeep, you have been scouring the newspapers in India and abroad. What did we see? What we saw was diplomatic failure. What we saw was that no country, no Donald Trump, gave back an embrace. Meanwhile, Pakistan is in a tight embrace with China. And China is a country with which we have $100 billion of trade deficit. What is this government doing? It is shameful. Failure on the diplomatic front.
Mr.
No country is standing
Mr.
with us.
Soos, you asked the question. You see, there are questions which you can ask which are clearly in the national interest. There are other questions which perhaps need to, you need to be a little bit more conscious about the timing of the question. But since it has been repeated by you more than once about what happened after 26/11. Remember, Prime Minister Narendra Modi was then Chief Minister of Gujarat at the time. The operation was going on at Trident, where the terror attack had taken place, one of the 5-star hotels in Mumbai. And this was while the attack was going on. This is what the Prime Minister had said then.
कल प्रधानमंत्री जी का राष्ट्र के नाम जो संदेश था, कल मैंने भी मीडिया का माध्यम से अपनी भावनाओं को प्रकट किया था, लेकिन देश को प्रधानमंत्री से बहुत कुछ अपेक्षाएं थी। कल राष्ट्र के नाम उनका संदेश निराशाजनक रहा।
So right in the middle of the operations Tuhin Sinha, the Prime Minister was then Chief Minister, had targeted Manmohan Singh. If that is kosher, Rahul Gandhi asking questions after the operation is over is not kosher. Are we saying that there are different standards to what happens when you are in power and when you are not in power?
Let me, Rajdeep, remind you what happened after 26/11. Exactly 6 months after 26/11, the then Prime Minister Manmohan Singh had brought the shame of Sharm el-Sheikh. Do you remember Sharm el-Sheikh? Exactly, that happened exactly 6 months after 26/11, where he gave permission to Pakistan to interrogate or to probe our imaginary involvement in Balochistan. That was
this was during the operation. Mr. Tuhin Sinha, while the operation was, just a minute, sir. While the operation was on in 26/11, Prime Minister Modi at the time had attacked Manmohan Singh. Was that justified?
He was
or are the rules different depending on where you sit?
Place of operations. He was sufficiently away from the place of operations, but exactly 2 days after the event, Rahul Gandhi was partying. That is the difference. But anyway, Mr. Soos is asking, what are you doing? What have you done after the Pahalgam attack? We have avenged terror attacks dating back to even 1999. So have patience.
Who is accountable for the Pahalgam security lapse? Mr. Sinha, who is accountable for the Pahalgam security lapse? Mr. Tuhin Sinha, who is accountable for Pahalgam security lapse? Mr. Sinha, who is accountable for Pahalgam security lapse? Has one officer been removed?
We have accepted. No, Rajdeep, it seems you have been following news selectively. We have accepted there is a security failure. No, a terror attack of this nature cannot happen without security failure. Now the point is, I am telling you, with our action, punitive action on Pakistan, we have avenged terror attacks dating back to 1999. So rest assured, this is an assurance I'm giving on your show, even the 4 terrorists involved in Pahalgam will be brutalized beyond your imagination and beyond the imagination of the Congress party. It's a matter of time. It's a matter of time. There is no going back. We are ruthless on these terror groups.
Okay, Salman Soos, I played an old bite of Prime Minister Modi. Let me now play one of Rahul Gandhi. This was after the surgical strikes of 2016. This is what Rahul Gandhi said then.
आप कर क्या रहे हो? जो हमारे जवान हैं, जिन्होंने अपना खून दिया है, जम्मू कश्मीर में जिन्होंने अपना खून दिया है, जिन्होंने हिंदुस्तान के लिए सर्जिकल स्ट्राइक किया है, उनके खून के पीछे आप छुपे हुए हो, उनकी आप दलाली कर रहे हो. ये बिल्कुल गलत है.
Khoon ki dalali, you will recall, became a statement made by Rahul Gandhi at the time after Uri. The question, therefore, is somewhere, Salman Soos, this kind of rhetoric that is brought out, does it really work to your... should this be the rhetoric that politicians should resort to at a time of national crisis, when Rahul Gandhi himself had said, we stand united behind the government? So you're back to Uri now. We thought things had changed between Uri and Pahalgam.
Rajdeep, one question for the entire country. Should the Prime Minister be in military attire saluting? He is the only face of Operation Sindoor, not the soldiers who are actually doing the work, who are putting their lives in danger, but it is only Narendra Modi, nobody else. Is that appropriate? Is that appropriate for this country? Is it appropriate for our democracy? Is it appropriate for our military? I think not. But let me now just ask you, Rajdeep. Like Tuhin said, that after he was basically about to criticize the late Prime Minister Manmohan Singh ji. Let me remind you and the people who are watching this TV show that after that heinous attack, Pakistan was put on the Financial Action Task Force. How did that happen? Pakistan was criticized. Basically, the Security Council passed a resolution against terrorism. The National Security Advisor of the United States, Condoleezza Rice, she was actually the Secretary of State. She said that Pakistan must bring those terrorists to heel. She said it. In this case, what happened? Even France, which sold us Rafale jets, which is our great ally now because we're buying so much defense equipment from them, even they played it both sides. Donald Trump, by the way, the Prime Minister is always saying that we are fish guru, mother of democracy. But when Donald Trump said that there is going to be a ceasefire before Pakistan and India, before anyone could say anything, nothing. The Prime Minister didn't say anything. The Prime Minister did not say that we have not agreed to this. The Prime Minister did not say that.
You want the Prime Minister to engage? No. Salman Soz, the Prime Minister cannot engage in a public spat with Donald Trump. Surely that's not what you expected either.
No, I disagree.
I mean, my point is, all your attempts to score political points, are you missing the wood for the trees? There are certain things you can say behind camera, certain things in public.
No, Rajdeep, 30 seconds or less than that. The Prime Minister did not have to get into a public spat with President Trump. Obviously, we want to have good relations with America. We want very tight, good relations with America. But he could have certainly protected India's self-respect and said that this is not, maybe there's a misunderstanding.
Okay.
He could have diplomatically said it, but he did not protect the country's self-respect. And I think that is shameful.
Okay, your 30 seconds are up. I will give Tuhin Sinha final 30 seconds. Tuhin Sinha, right through this show, we are showing these memes which are running on social media. Some which are showing Rahul Gandhi should get Nishane-e-Pakistan. The Congress has hit back also by showing half face of Modi, half of Shahbaz Sharif. Does any of this do credit to India at a time when we want to go to the world and project unity? My point is, surely the way out would be for Prime Minister Narendra Modi and Rahul Gandhi to talk to each other. That's what previous Prime Ministers would do. Narasimha Rao would speak to Atal Bihari Vajpayee when he was the leader of the opposition. Manmohan Singh would speak to L.K. Advani. Why is there this unwillingness to talk to each other? And instead talk at each other through social media? We are embarrassing ourselves.
Are taking me... Rajdeep, since you're taking me back to the Vajpayee era, let me remind you that in 1994, when Vajpayee ji had got the opportunity to represent India at the UNHRC summit at Geneva, entire BJP was proud. They did not behave in the petty manner that Rahul Gandhi is behaving just because Shashi Tharoor has been chosen to lead an important delegation. That is the crucial difference over here. This Congress party is a regressive party for the BJP. The nation comes first for this particular Congress party.
I said the Prime Minister and the leader of the opposition would speak. I take your point, but the Prime Minister and the leader of the opposition would speak directly to each other. Mr. Tuhin Sinha, India's convention was for the leaders to speak. What stops the Prime Minister from speaking up the phone and speaking to Mr. Kharge?
Upset the India's diplomatic outreach.
Okay, I'm going to leave it there. What we clearly see is
allow me to complete. Can you repeat the question, please?
No, my limited point to you, Tuhin, was what stops the Prime Minister from picking up the phone, speaking to the leader of the opposition and settling these issues rather than running these,
for that, Rahul Gandhi has to behave responsibly.
5 seconds.
Okay, Rajiv, what Rahul Gandhi has done in the last 2 days amounts to perfidy. You know, the kind of behavior doesn't behove a leader of opposition. And I'm saying this with full responsibility on your show, just 10 more seconds, that he has done it with a larger malified intent to disrupt India's global outreach at a time when you know, the EAM is traveling abroad, at a time when our missions are traveling abroad. His intentions are deliberate. It is to disrupt India's diplomatic outreach.
Your 10 seconds are up. I've listened to you carefully. I've listened to Salman Sood. I just wonder, and I only cite history. What stops the Prime Minister and the leader of the opposition from talking to each other? Surely that is the convention in this country. Why is that convention not being followed? That's the simple question I want to... This debate could end very easily if that was done. Minimum consensus, minimum respect for each other. Rahul Gandhi needs to introspect. Prime Minister Modi needs to introspect. And maybe if they introspected, they could find a way of talking to each other rather than talking at each other. The primary responsibility is, though, of the government to talk to the opposition rather than talk at it. And the opposition also needs to ensure that they show minimum respect to the office of the Prime Minister. Let's turn from there to another battle. Because while we are counting down to an all-party delegation that is going to visit different countries to set the record straight on Operation Sindoor, the fact is that while there will be politics and while all the issues can be raised in TV channels, the truth is that when it comes to taking on Pakistan-based terror, the country must stand as one. All these MLAs many of the ministers were today, the MPs were briefed today by the Ministry of External Affairs. But what I want to ask is, why is it that it was necessary to try and win this battle now overseas? Because on social media itself, the Pakistanis have launched a very, very concerted attempt in recent times to understand how this social media war is being waged between India and Pakistan. I'm joined by Ankit Kumar, editor OSINT. They look very carefully, particularly at social media trends, as well as impact of that across the globe. Ankit, what have you found? I'm going to play the graphics now. From April 22nd, when Pahalgam happened, to Operation Sindoor, compare India and Pakistan in the way they conducted their operations.
Well, Rajdeep, now that the fog of war seems to be settling down, we now have time to decode the other warfare, that is the information warfare that was going on. So clearly there are two phases to it. First phase was the day of Pahalgam attack. It lasted until, let's say, May 6th. That was the time when Indian Air Force targeted the terror sites in Bahawalpur and Muridke. The second phase began on May 7th, and then it is continued. Now, let's begin with the second phase first. There is no doubt that the communication strategy from Indian side has been top-notch in second phase. You had two women officers, you have extensive use of satellite pictures in the press conferences. But the concern that we are hearing from diplomatic circles is about the phase one. You know, the moment Pahalgam happened, at least top 3 ministers of Pakistan cabinet, the foreign minister, the information minister, the defense minister, they started making very frequent appearances in foreign media, especially in Europe, not limited to UK. Germany was covered, France was covered. Can you believe 25 such appearances in those foreign media compared to almost zero when it comes to top ministers from India?
No, let me get that right. 25 interviews were conducted by Pakistan's ministers across global platforms. Not a single Indian minister went on a global platform between April 22nd and May 7th. Am I correct?
So 25 also includes another very prominent face from Pakistan, that is Bilawal Bhutto Zardari, the face of PPP. As opposed to India, we saw an outreach from Indian government, Indian envoys in UK, in USA after May 7th. But what had happened, according to former diplomats, is that by that time, Pakistan was able to somehow push this narrative that this entire thing was not about Pahalgam terror attack. It was about the year-long, the decade-long controversy, the dispute of Kashmir between India and Pakistan. And that is where the concern is coming from, the rehyphenation of India and Pakistan. Somehow, the terror attack in Pahalgam,
let's put those numbers again. India's outreach in G20 nations. 12 embassies neither conducted any event nor engaged with media. These are 12 of our embassies. 18 embassies didn't engage with media. 13 embassies didn't organize any event. So what were they doing? Basically retweeting what the government of India was doing, but not actively engaging with their counterparts in the countries they are. Am I right?
So we have looked at 24 official accounts of our embassies or high commissions, G20 countries plus African Union countries. And what we have seen is that at least 18 did not have any media interaction during that time. And 12, of course, as you can see. And we have checked the official statements. What they have been doing was they have been reposting the official statements from PIV, maybe from the Prime Minister, from the External Affairs Ministry. But as far as the outreach event was concerned, that perhaps was the lost opportunity. Right. When you speak to those experts, they point out because given the size and presence of India's diplomatic presence across the world, maybe that was the lost window. That was the time to launch this diplomatic onslaught.
Well, that's the hope now that this global outreach that India is launching next week will cover up for some of those lapses. Perhaps that was one factor that didn't quite work in the way we might have expected. There was a need early on for a stronger outreach. With those details, I appreciate you, Ankit Kumar, for joining me. Let's turn to tonight's ground report, which comes from Bengaluru, a city which every year seems to be sinking. Even before the monsoons have started, the city is already flooded out after a spell of heavy rain. 3 lives lost in a single day, roads flooded, homes submerged. But as families grieve, the Congress's top leaders are at the moment in Hospet, celebrating 2 years of the government there. More of this in our next report.
India's IT hub sinking under flood, sparked by heaviest downpour this year. The city on its knees with key roads, metro stations and bus terminals flooded. And boats were seen on its roads to rescue those who were stranded. The city witnessed 3 rain-related deaths. In BTM layout, 12-year-old Dinesh and 63-year-old Manmohan Kamath were electrocuted while trying to drain floodwater from their homes. Earlier in Whitefield, a 35-year-old woman was crushed when a wall collapsed.
Sai layout in Horamavu is famous for Sai Baba temple, and this is that Sai Baba temple in Sai layout, which is completely flooded. And if you notice that, as I told you earlier, the water was up to hip level. Now it has been receded, but it has not gone completely. But still there are slush inside the temple. The temple is completely flooded with slush, dirt and sewage water. And imagine the kind of the kind of suffering that the people have to go through because of these kind of flooded water.
We have to suffer. We are the publics are sufferers here. Because we cannot blame the government, nor we cannot blame the nature. But they should take some precaution.
It is a nearly 14 crore worth of project, very big project in fact, being done under the supervision of the railway authorities. And there are so many interdepartment coordination, etc., activities involved. All those are now attended, solved in past 1 year. What I am trying to tell you is, you only told me that from 10 years it did not happen. What I am trying to tell you is, from past 1 year, because of the intervention of Honorable Deputy CM and the Chief Commissioner and senior officers and the coordination efforts of the department and the railway authorities and other agencies, this has done some progress.
But amid the mounting woes and cases of deaths, the Siddaramaiah government is busy celebrating 2 years in power. With Congress Chief Mallikarjun Kharge and Congress MP Rahul Gandhi in attendance, promoting BJP to hit out hard.
D.K. Shukumar and other senior Congress leaders, every time they speak about Greater Bangalore, adding Greater to Bangalore name will not resolve the crisis. last 2 years, they have done nothing for Bangalore city. Travel across Bangalore, you will see only potholes, water clogging everywhere. So this government is not at all serious about Karnataka development.
Our Honorable PIC President Mallikarjun Kharge ji, our leader and leader opposition Rahul Gandhis ji, Siddaramaiah ji, DK Shiva, all the leaders are going to participate here. It is a historic, send a message that in 2 years, what we have promised, we have delivered. For the people of Karnataka, the people are very happy because whatever we have promised, all 5 guarantees have been implemented.
Is Siddaramaiah government putting celebrations above governance? With Sagai Raj, Bureau Report, India Today.
And that's a question I asked a little while ago to Rizwan Arshad, two-time MLA and MLC from Bengaluru, who joins me of the Congress party. Rizwan, your party celebrating a 2-year anniversary in Hospet at a time when your capital city, Bengaluru, is flooded. The optics are terrible. What is more important, celebration or showing that empathy to citizens who've suffered due to rains?
Rajdeep, this was not only the 2-year celebration. On record, I would like to tell you that our government had took up ambitious program to regularize all the Gram Thanas and revenue villages which had never got their title deeds, their right on their ownership. And we had decided to do a program where we will be historically distributing 1,11,111 families a title deed which had been denied to them since independence. So it was a historical program decided earlier where all the beneficiaries had assembled. So we had to go ahead with the program. But since Rizwan, it coincided with the month in May.
No, you can carry on with a government program, but surely your Bengaluru MLAs, yourself included, the minister in charge and deputy chief minister, DK Shivkumar, should be focusing at the moment on a city which seems to be sinking. I mean, they should be on the ground. You have to provide some solution to Bengaluru apart from having your government program in Hospet.
No. The government program in Hospet was done under the leadership of the revenue minister, and Mr. Shivkumar was here. I, as a Bangalore MLA, also left the program and came back to Bangalore. We are all on the ground. Rajdeep, I would like to tell you that there are certain fundamental issues in Bangalore which needs to be settled once for all. Unless we do that, this problem will persist and continue.
No, but that is precisely the point.
And our government is on that. And I would like to tell you, Rajdeep, that...
No, that is precisely the point, Rizwan. What you said, there are persistent issues recurring year after year. We are seeing Bangalore flooded out. And when the BJP was in power, you attacked them when Bangalore was flooded out. You're in power now. Do you accept that Bangalore needs to be in a far better position to handle the flooding, and the accountability and the buck stops with you?
Good that you have asked me, Rajiv, that I would like to tell you that in Bangalore city, in the corporation area, there are 870 square kilometers of stormwater drains. I would like to tell you, Rajdeep, on record that when we were in the previous government, we built 400 square kilometers of stormwater drain, kept the money reserved for the next round of the next 400 square kilometers of stormwater drain. As soon as our government went and the BJP government came, they de-reserved that money and diverted that money to something else. They never built the rest of the stormwater drain. After we have come to power, we are spending nearly 2,000 crores. The tenders have been done to build all the rest of the stormwater drains. 1. 2, there is a fundamental problem in how Bangalore is being managed administratively. So the current BBMP or the corporation, which is unscientifically structured and unwidely spread across, is unable to take the needs of Bangalore. So we have brought in a Greater Bangalore Act, which will restructure the whole administration into smaller corporations, make it more decentralized, make it more transparent, which area which can be easily governed. So that kind of administrative policy decisions we have taken. Luckily, the governor has also given assent. We are on fundamentally setting things right for Bangalore city, Rajdeep. And we are on work, and I am very sure in next 1 year, there will be a lot of change.
Okay, I'm not giving you 1 year, I'm giving you a few months, Rizwan. Monsoon is yet to start, and we'll see whether you can actually live up to all the promises you all make. Always easier to say, to target the government when you're in opposition. When you're in government, accountability is yours. Rizwan Arshad of Bangalore joining me. Appreciate your joining us. Our image of the day, the beating the retreat ceremony on the Wagah-Attari border has been scaled down. No handshake, no opening of gates. The ceremony resumed after 12 days. The question therefore is, do these ceremonials really matter when two countries are in a bitter conflict of the kind we've seen? And how does one respond when Pakistan shells our innocent villagers along the border and then expects the ceremonies to take place on Wagah-Attari? Think about it. We need to move beyond optics on both sides. Bye for now.